Welcome back to Best Pod Available. Joe DeLeone and Ryan Roberts here for A to Z Sports at the NFL Combine. Day one has concluded for the defensive tackles, defensive ends, and linebackers. We're talking winners at each position group. Before we move on, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on all of our Combine coverage. Ryan, defensive tackles, we have to start the conversation with our guy, Caleb Banks, man. Caleb Banks has been one of the most fun players to track throughout this process. Immeasurable, as we all knew, 35-inch arms, 327 pounds at 6'6", runs a 5.04. I called my shot. I said he was going to run close to 5 seconds.
We get it.
32-inch vert, 32-inch vert.
Is that what you said?
No, I said he was going to run. The 40 was where I called the shot. And a 9.6 broad. He has to be, without a doubt, one of the biggest winners from the Combine. We're going to get to some of these other big names as well, but we have to start this conversation with Caleb Banks.
Well, I mean, the defensive tackle one conversation's been kind of open now, right? With what the season that Peter Woods put together, with the fact that we just don't have a ton of data from Caleb Banks in 2025. So he needed a great process. We talked about rough first day at the Senior Bowl, good last couple days at the Senior Bowl. Really ascending prospect, but for the ability that he has at 6'6", 327 pounds, with the length and the movement skills, I mean, it was no surprise what he did in Indianapolis. Yes, I already did a 5.15, so I guess I'm taking the L on the 40-yard dash time, but regardless, this kid is an elite athlete, and if he is able to put it together, you're talking about a high-level defensive tackle on the NFL level. So yes, big day for Mr. Caleb Banks.
Grayson Halton was another guy who caught my attention at the Senior Bowl and then also followed it up with some pretty good numbers. Yep. He was sub 300, but he ran a 4.82, which is a fantastic time for him. We're not overemphasizing speeds for defensive tackles, but 36.5-inch vert, the explosiveness is what catches my attention. We're also getting the trickling in of some of these agility numbers. A 4.79 on his 20-yard shuttle is pretty solid as well. Another guy looks just super fluid out there. I think that Grayson Halton's a really underrated name to know in this class, and I tossed in another underrated name that's a similar size profile, a guy that you and I both love. I'll let you do your whole spiel of how long ago you found him. Caleb Proctor, I'm obsessed with the Southeastern Louisiana defensive tackle. He's up to 290, which is an awesome thing to see. 33-inch arms. He runs a 4.79 blazing speed, 33-inch vertical, explosiveness, 9.5 on the broad, 4.71 on the 20-yard shuttle. This guy... Both of these guys, I think, show upside as potentially disruptive pass rushers. And the one comparison that I keep coming back to with Proctor, I keep bringing up Milton Williams, where Williams got drafted out of Louisiana Tech early day 3 as a projectable high upside player, ends up becoming this awesome rotational pass rusher in the interior for the Eagles, and is now one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL.
Proctor, let me tell you a story time. Story time with Ryan Roberts.
This story 4 times this week, guys.
There was once a time in September of 2024.
Back in 1984.
where a younger Ryan Roberts did recommend to multiple agencies Mr. Caleb Proctor because of the movement skills that he brought to the table. Now, at that point, he was probably 270 pounds. And funny enough, at the Senior Bowl, how much did he weigh, Joe? 276 pounds, and now up to 291. He is...
What was at the Shrine? Proctor wasn't at the...
I'm sorry.
Wait, were you talking about Halton or Proctor?
I'm talking about Proctor.
He wasn't at the Senior Bowl, was he?
Wait, am I misremembering? Oh, yeah, he was.
He was at Shrine. He was a Shrine kid. Yeah. Well, because you know what I tweeted about Proctor, and I said it's time for you to get Caleb Proctor pilled, and Galco liked that tweet.
Yes, I'm sorry. If Eric is listening to this, I apologize. Yes, he was down in Frisco at the East-West Shrine Bowl, had a big-time week, but he was only 276 pounds when he was down in Frisco. So in the last couple weeks, he put on 15 pounds of muscle and maintained that 4.79 speed, that explosiveness that he brings to the table. So tremendous day for Caleb Proctor. Shows that he's a guy that can be draftable, and the fact that his weight is up, I think, is a good sign that he's not just going to be this undersized player that maybe doesn't have the weight profile to hold up on the NFL level. But Halton, just got to go back to him real quick.
Yep.
36.5-inch vert.
That is, I don't think people realize how nutty that is for a defensive tackle. Only 290, but still, that is, you can leap.
But over 290 pounds, though, 293. So his weight has continued to increase over the last couple of years. G-Baby, as he's beloved in the Oklahoma lore. 36.5-inch vert. Like, Tristan Wirfs once did that at, 320. Like, that is a different alien. But at 293 pounds, to do 36.5 inches is tremendous number.
Probably could have thrown this guy in there with our bursty 3 techs. Zane Durant has been a player who didn't have the progression this season we were maybe hoping for, but his film's solid. Kind of stayed around that early day 3 range for me. Was really hard to keep up with in one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. Runs a 4.75 here, which affirms I've got the best get-off out of anyone in this class. 33.5-inch vert, 9.4 on the broad. A lot of boxes being checked there with Durant, who is going to be a menace for guards and centers to be able to deal with him because he's going to be underneath them and he's going to be way too quick to keep up with.
He might be the cleanest 290 I've ever seen. Like, there is no fat on his frame. He is just a really powerfully built dude. I don't know where it was. I don't know if you remember, like, a few weeks ago, there was actually someone that put out that he was going to run, like, 4.68 in the 40, and at the time, people were like, no chance. Well, apparently he was at least in the realm of that conversation, right? Because 4.75 at 290 pounds, that is a stupid number, and he's another one of these guys that's a one-gap penetrator, needs to be able to work up field, and I do think that he has a chance to show that the 2024 film is more of what Zane Durant can be on the NFL level, because I do think that 2025 was a little bit down, but I think that a lot of Penn State players are down 2025 season.
The first defensive end that carries this conversation is David Bailey. We knew coming in that this guy had a lot to prove because he was a really ridiculous athlete, and now we're coming away still blown away. It almost seems not real, the numbers that he put up at 250 pounds, 4.540, which is blazing, 35-inch vert, 10.9 on the broad. I love the bit that when we get the NFL researchers going and pulling numbers for other guys in comparison, and they're pulling Adrian Peterson's broad, they're pulling Devontae Adams' I think it was his 40 time or his 10-yard split. David Bailey, wide receiver 1, question mark, RB1, no, RB2 behind Jeremiah Love, question mark. The guy is unbelievable, and we could just stop the pass rusher conversation because we didn't get to see Bain, we didn't get to see some of these other guys, but Bailey, I think, really might have stamped his placement as edge 1 if we're not including Arvell Reese in that convo because he's just athlete 1.
And he had arms that were just a hair under 34 inches. So he won the weigh-in, 251 pounds, was over 250, I think, which is a great number for him as well. To run 4.5 flat at that size is crazy. And you know what's funny is, like, the 10.9 broad is tremendous. I actually thought he might do a little bit higher in the vertical, and it's so funny to be, like, slightly disappointed with a 35 inch.
Yeah, you said that when we were sitting and watching it, and we're like, wait, that's not awesome.
Yes, 10.9, I mean, for context, real quick, 10.9, I believe Kyle Hamilton had a 10.10 broad jump, and he's one of the freakier, athletic, explosive safeties in the NFL today, maybe the most.
Safety 1, David Bailey.
Yeah, safety 1, David Bailey. Tight end 1, David Bailey. Tight end, wide receiver 1, everything 1.
Tight end 1's Keldrick. Oh, no, QB 1's Keldrick Folk because he was throwing for some reason when he was warming up. Sorry, I'm
I mean, he didn't run a 40, so he had some time to kill. Yeah.
He looked a little, I know we're not really getting into guys that maybe underperformed, but he looked a little tight. But to get back to David Bailey, David Bailey was tremendous. He looked really just overall, I think, established, hey, I am a freaky athlete. You know what? The one thing I'm kind of clinging on to this. Did you ever have, growing up, when you were playing sports, and you had like that one kid who maybe would always walk a little awkwardly and always just had like a very very stiff arms and like just didn't move super fluidly, and you thought to yourself, like, there's no way that guy's athletic, and then you got on the field. And that dude was the fastest and the strongest out of everybody, was kicking everybody's ass. And then you think to yourself, where did that come from? And then if anyone ever asked you who's the best athlete in your high school, you're like talking about that kid. Did you ever have one of those dudes?
Yeah.
Me and a kid who played on my offensive line who was like that.
And they always had no swag, and then they would just kind of build their own swag through the play.
They would never, if they played football with them, they never wore gloves. They had the most, the sock length was always atrocious. And like it would always go 3/4 of the way up, but it never went fully up. So you could see part of their calf, and you're just thinking, like, what is this dude doing? That's David Bailey. He creates his own drip. He doesn't need it. He looks weird when he runs, but he's the best athlete. He's the best athlete having any defensive ends.
4.5 flat, 251 pounds, speaks for itself. And I agree, man. He's also kind of scary on the field a little bit. It's like a guy that looks like that doesn't have any drip and doesn't have any spat. He doesn't have any gloves. He doesn't have anything. Like, that's a scary dude, man. So the season that he had to be able to transition into the draft process and have this type of performance, I think he solidified himself as a top 4 draft pick.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. His teammate Romello Height ended up putting up some good numbers as well. I said this to you when we were watching it. If I had to guess, would Bailey or Height run the faster 40? I would have guessed Height. He runs a 4.64. He was a little heavier, which was where he needed to really show up, is be around 240 pounds. He was 239. 4.64, 39-inch vert, 10.5 on the broad. So a different type of explosive, but still nonetheless extremely, extremely explosive.
Yeah, like I'm not worried about the 40-yard dash time. I mean, 1.63 and a 10-yard split is a good number for him. But you said it perfectly. 239 pounds after being 226 for scouts before the season, showing that he can hold weight on his frame. I think it's super important. And then we're also talking about a guy that the explosives with that 39-inch vert and 10.5 broad, like those things showcase that the best parts of him is getting off the line of scrimmage, out of his stance. So I think that he's going to be that true designated pass rusher on the NFL level, but a very useful player in the right role for sure.
Cassius Howe will be the last defensive end that I think pass rusher that we could bring up. We talked about how we were hearing that there was momentum for him and R. Mason Thomas to end up going in the first round. And early in the first round, he runs a 4.59 that just kind of solidifies, hey, he's quick off the ball, he's going to move well. 32.5-inch vert's pretty solid, 9.7 in the broad, but the 1.58 10-yard split is the illustration there. The one thing that comes away with this 30.25-inch arms, he does not have length. He is in the Ruben Bain conversation of not having very much length. So that is going to be something that is going to be part of the conversation. It probably should be brought as much as it is.
I mean, he's an outlier, and he's going to be a designated pass rusher more than like on the NFL level. He'll be a starter on the NFL level, but like his best work will be getting after the quarterback. He's ultimately, for me though, Joe, like the 40 time was good, running sub 4.6. The explosives were not great, but he's one of those guys where the field work, I think, cemented the day for me. He looked good running the hoop. He looked good changing direction. He's a guy that fluidity was really on par when you talk about those positional drills and just moving on the field.
Getting to these linebackers to close this out here, I'm almost not surprised that Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles were insanely athletic.
Sure.
Sonny Styles at 6'5", 244, runs a 4.46, 43.5-inch vertical, which is the best ever for a player of his just physical profile, 11.2 broad, which is also absurd. His teammate Reese runs a 4.46 and a 1.58 10-yard split, did not do any of the jumps. I'm not surprised because we knew these dudes were freaks. We knew these dudes were going to be able to do some crazy stuff. And, I mean, the translation to what they do on the field with the athleticism just confirms these are top 10 picks, maybe top 5 picks at this point.
I mean, one for sure. I think Arvell Reese solidified himself as a top 5 pick, especially with 4.46 for his profile. Like I think as an edge rusher, like that is a wild time. But Sonny Styles is going to be in that conversation to your point as well because we just don't see athletes like this, man. Like the broad. Yeah, we're comparing him with Calvin Johnson on the television. Like they were like
wide receiver one.
What historical numbers can we look side by side and say like that's similar? It's Calvin Johnson, which is the numbers that he was putting up. So yeah, man, he is about as freaky of an athlete at the linebacker position that has ever come out, and we see that with the record for a linebacker. Obviously, with that vertical, that broad jump is insane. Anytime you go over 11 feet. And then the fact that he runs sub 4.5 as well just kind of solidifies it. That Sonny Styles is a tremendous athlete with all pro upside.
Closing us out here to one guy's player that's been making buzz since the Senior Bowl. The other is a little bit more unheralded and is the guy that you're obsessed with. Kyle Lewis has locked himself in as the best pass coverage linebacker, hybrid safety type. He runs a 4.53, which is blazing, 39.5-inch vert, 10.9 on the broad. 1.48 10-yard split. He's 220 pounds, so I think that establishes where he's going to slot in. But you're also excited about TCU's Caleb Elarms or 6'2", 234, 4.47, 40-inch vert, 10.4 on the broad. I haven't watched the tape. I told you I'm watching linebackers this week, and I mean, he's at the top of the list of guys that I need to watch. Because I've already watched Styles and Reese, but I got to watch this kid. This is unbelievable.
Alarmzor is a guy that I actually watched at Cal originally. He was a Cal transfer to TCU. His eyes are still a little bit spotty, but the range on the second level is fantastic. And obviously, you see the explosiveness. I thought I heard, and I could have been mishearing it a little bit, but I thought I heard Daniel Jeremiah mention that he had a little bit of a speed concern with alarms, or I didn't have that.
Really?
And then ultimately, running 4.47 verifies that there is no speed concern there, right? So at 234 pounds as well. So this isn't a guy that's like sub 230. That's like the, in that mold like Xavier Story where you're like 228 pounds. It's a little bit of a denser linebacker that can run days. So athletically, he showed himself in Indianapolis, and I think he's a guy that, a surprise, top 100 pick in April.
We see that happening, and this is ultimately the NFL Combine is a moment for guys to pop up on the radar that the NFL likes, but maybe the media doesn't know about and fans don't know about. So we're bringing up these numbers, bringing up these players because now they're in the forefront and a lot of confirmations on who they are as athletes to establish where they're going to fit in this class. Subscribe, hit the like button. We are going to be back tomorrow with more breakdowns on the top prospects in this year's class.